would put us at risk or the youth at risk. But they've now broadened it to say also it includes sexual abuse or harassment. So one of the examples today was if you have a student of the month at a Rotary meeting and someone tells an off-color joke, what do you do? And that kind of was struck home a little bit.
5 of us
Could
so
possibly
far,
happen,
including the
maybe.
Johnsons, including Joanne.
Hey, Joe.
Hello, hi,
I have
Joe.
no sound. Where's my sound?
We can hear you.
We can hear you. Hi, Joe.
There it is.
Your sound's on.
So the other problem is that we have very stringent and thorough practices for RYE. You have to take a Department of State test. You have to study first and then take the test, and then there's a background check related to that. But if you go to RILA, if you're a counselor at RILA, you get your fingerprinted, so a life scan sort of thing. So if one turned up something, the other would not know it. So we're trying to adjust that by having a centralized database that would have all of the background checks in one place, which makes a whole lot of sense. But easier said than done.
Hi, Freema.
Hi, Graciela. Hello,
How are
everybody.
you?
Hi, Frema.
Good. I'm good.
I got my hair cut today in a backyard. It was so wonderful.
Good for you.
She came to your house?
She came to a friend's house and I went over there and she lined up 7 people every 40 minutes.
Is this your usual,
Yeah.
your usual person?
No.
Oh,
And I was at the point, my personal one said, well, maybe I could come to your backyard in about 3 weeks. I'm like, oh, I can't wait that long. So my friend was there are like 4 or 5 people that are friends who go to the same hairdresser. So I snuck in with them.
good for you. You know, you need guerrilla tactics here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really nice young lady. Well, I don't know, probably mid-30s, something like that. Very nice. Young, in my mind.
Chris joined us. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Graciela is our greeter, Chris.
Good.
Clark, what do you got shooting out of your ears there?
Hey, I'm sitting in my F-18.
All right.
Oh, I see. I thought it was an
I'm
aircraft
in
carrier
the,
for a
I'm in
minute.
the
You're in the cockpit.
Cool.
Ooh.
formation.
Oh, man.
I could go onto the aircraft carrier though.
I want to see that.
There you go.
Ooh.
It's not an aircraft carrier, that's an airport.
That's true.
Let's see.
That's actually the Top Gun base.
Mm.
Had fun looking up different virtual backgrounds.
Wow, look at that.
Chris,
I'm sorry, what?
Joanne and Chris, would you guys be available to talk later this afternoon, like after you get home, Gwen?
Yeah. Could it possibly be tomorrow?
There.
Is this
Um,
Is that lost?
well, I'm here.
Probably. I prefer to do
I
it,
get,
get it over with.
yeah.
Hi, Laura.
I'm not sure what time I'll be home. But, hi, Art.
Would like 7 o'clock work for you, maybe?
If we had to.
All right, well,
Tomorrow morning?
no, not tomorrow morning. It'd have to be in the afternoon.
All right. Well, I think we should just tell Pacific no, but I guess we got to talk to everybody, so.
Well, yeah, we had to
Can't
talk to
get
everybody. We
anything.
also
I
need
don't
to
have-
then lock in the other guy.
There's Jen. Hi, Jen. How are you today?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Oh. Everything is fine, thank you.
Doing well?
Doing well.
Perfect.
Well. in and out of stores very quickly
Yeah, I know, right? Oh,
in the morning.
I hate shopping now.
Uh-huh.
It's a little bit noisy.
Well, you do it. I don't, I'm not used to navigating this.
And there's
Should have put mine.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi.
Oh, good. Okay, I think I'm all set then.
I need to restart us. We have no picture. We just the big Zoom screen.
You shouldn't have to restart. Just try one of the options up there for the
There are
bigger.
no options.
The
Oh,
whole
wait.
thing.
Well,
Hi,
The only thing I have is
scroll at the bottom. Are you on iPhone? Or are you on
Nope, I'm on my MacBook, but
Jerry? Do you know any?
I've never experienced this. I just have the big blue Zoom and a Zoom screen with no options.
Well, there might be an icon at the bottom or something. I don't know how Mac. I'm not a Mac person.
Can you hit escape and see if anything happens on your escape button?
You may need to leave the meeting and then re-enter the meeting too.
It might be
That's what he was
easiest.
gonna do.
Sometimes that's the easiest way.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'll be back. Hopefully I'll be back.
No worries.
I'm taking attendance.
Andrea, my buddy, how are you?
Hi,
Hey,
how
I'm
are
on.
you doing?
I'm on, but I'm gonna be quiet for about 5 minutes.
Hello, how are you? I'm your reader today. And we have Carol that joined us. Claire is here, Brian. Hi, Brian.
Hello.
Oh, good. We can work together because I'm taking attendance.
Great. Great.
Taking attendance?
Andrea.
I am, yes.
Joe,
Ah,
we see you.
Hey, Howie's here. Hi, Howie.
Frank is here too. Hi, Frank, how are you?
Hey, pretty good. Hey, I've got the lunches here. What am I going to do with it?
I'll be right over, Frank. I'll be right over.
Did you take the calories
Good morning,
out,
Brian.
Frank?
I'm just gonna turn the whole thing off and start over.
I'll use mine.
Hi, Alan.
Barbara, you have your
Hello,
photo
everybody.
on.
Let me ask a quick question. Who is on the phone number 916-216-6534?
That's Norm Lane.
Okay, Norm.
Hey, Norm. How's the
Sounds
knee?
good.
Hi. Oh, I'm doing well. It's still hurting a little bit. It's not a piece of cake, but it's not that bad either. So I'm still recovering. I just had the operation. They just took out they had to put staples in. They just took out the staples yesterday. So that was kind of interesting. Had about 36 staples.
Oh, geez. Wow.
Good.
Yeah. So, but I got a brand new knee though. So
Well, that's good. That's great.
Take care, Norm.
Keep taking your pain
Thanks.
pills as they tell you to for the first while.
I'm going to, believe me.
And make sure you do your exercises.
Yep, I'm doing that too.
Yeah, the trick is to get that extension.
Yeah, you got to get out and get active, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got Karen up on the bike the second day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I thought
That's
I was going to kill Gary.
Don't
But it worked.
don't do more than you're
She was
supposed
just laying
to.
over it.
Wow, it looks like Jerry just got back from a bike ride.
I did.
All right. Nice.
Howie, can you hear us?
We have, let's see. Hi, Karen. Karen Russell.
Here we are.
Oh, there's Joe. You back?
We're back. Had to turn it off altogether. Stop.
Carol Orlando. Hi.
Hello, good morning, or afternoon.
Hello.
How is
All right.
everybody?
Good.
Good.
We're
Good,
the
everybody
Where
staying
the heck-
safe?
Yeah.
All right.
Where the heck's Truman?
I don't know. He hasn't been to the office either. He's here, but I don't know where.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Well, why don't we go ahead and get started, because I see we've got 26 participants, so fantastic. That's great to see. So thank you all for taking the time to be with us here today for our weekly noon luncheon meeting. So thank you. And as Frank said, he's got all the lunches to hand out. So, all right. So a couple of quick things. Sorry, my phone rings. I think I go away on the screen here. Anyway, a couple of things in this day in history. And I'll start off with this one since looks like Clark is flying overhead as we zoom today. In 1931, Russell Boardman and John Polando set the new long-distance non-stop flight record from New York to Istanbul.
Wow.
So that one there, Clark.
Nice.
Wow.
A couple other things, interesting notes here. In 1975, today is the day in 1975 that Jimmy Hoffa was last seen alive. Most of you know that name. And
Sleeps with the fishes.
yeah, yes. Yeah.
That guy see him over your shoulder.
Oh, well, is that, so okay, that's who's behind me then. And then Elvis, his first professional performance was this day in Overton Park, Kansas in 1954. In case we have any Elvis fans out there. And then one final note here. In 1945, on this day in 1945, the USS Indianapolis took a torpedo from the Japanese. It was sunk. 316 of the 1,196 on board survived. And those were shark-infested waters. I know a lot of people don't even know about the USS Indianapolis and that whole scenario and the loss of lives there. But what was very significant about that group was they had just completed the delivery of the key components for the atomic bomb, which then several days later we dropped. So anyway, that was in 1945. So a couple of key things in this date. Why don't we move on to the pledge? Is Freema available?
I'm here.
Oh, great. Thank you, Freema. Can you lead us in the pledge, please?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United
States of
America,
And
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. How about Barbara? I saw Barbara there.
Hi.
Can you lead us in the four-way test, please?
Absolutely. Of the things we think, say, or do, number one, join me, please. Is it the
Is it
truth?
the truth?
Number two, is it fair
Is it
to
fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill?
Will better
Friendships.
And will it be
Will be
beneficial
to all
concerned?
concerned.
And most important, lastly, will it be fun?
Fun.
Have fun. Yes. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you
Okay.
very much, Barbara. I appreciate that. How about Alan? Is Alan on the call today?
Yes, I
he
am,
is.
Brian.
Yes. Alan, you've got a poem for us today, I understand.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'd like to open with just a little preface. Peace is a goal we all try to achieve. We strive for serenity within ourselves and with those who play a role in our lives. However, the road traveled can be bumpy. We live in a far from perfect world. Our lives can be disrupted without warning, and we pray for the poem, Peace and Quiet. Peace is like still waters in a shallow pond, quiet like the sea of air floating above. Ripples appear upon the pond's surface as shadowy clouds form overhead. Peace interrupted as the ripples grow, quiet disturbed by thunderous skies. A small sailboat afloat rolls from side to side, as pouring rain hampers smooth sailing. Peace, now a remnant of what had been. Quiet, a victim of the turbulent storm. The boat rocks up and down, trying to adjust, as rough waters hamper its quest. Peace, a dream for a future time. Quiet, a wish to quell society's turmoil. Dark skies brighten, opening both minds and hearts, as the pond's tranquility emerges once again. Thank you.
Great. Oh, thank you very much for that, Alan. Very nice. Very nice. Any visiting Rotarians today? I don't see any. Okay. All right. How about guests? I don't see any guests either. Okay. How about birthdays? Oh, 2 weeks in a row without a birthday.
Oh, I have a birthday.
Oh, okay. Glad we could
Okay, it's
remind you.
Fran's 98 and a half birthday.
Say that again?
Fran's 98 and a half birthday.
I think so.
Her birthday was the 21st of July, and she's going to be was 78. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Okay. All right. Okay.
don't
I think
tell
you're
her
in- I think you're in
98
big
and a half,
trouble.
though.
I
She
was
gets
gonna
on my
ask-
case about that.
I was going to ask you, Frank, is she in the room?
No, she's not.
Well, I will
You don't
call
have
her
to
myself and wish her a happy
progress.
78th birthday.
I think you're in big trouble, Frank.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I've got an anniversary.
Okay, anniversaries.
I got an anniversary, 55 years of marriage, the last 27 happily married to Penny.
Oh, fantastic. Just adding them all together there, are you?
Yeah, sure, cumulative, what the hell?
That's right. We weren't specific about how many
That's right.
years. Yes, you're right. All right. Any other birthdays, anniversaries?
Brian,
Yes.
Stan,
Yes, Stan.
yesterday was my wife and my 42nd anniversary.
Fantastic.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. You guys.
And I will make a donation to the Rotary Foundation. Who do I
Okay.
send that to?
Fabulous.
Let's
Karen Russell,
see.
right? Karen Russell?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can send it to our PO box,
Okay.
and then we'll make sure it gets deposited, and that Karen gets that money.
All right,
PO
thank you.
663.
Yes. Thank you, Joanne.
I can give you account numbers, Stan, if you want a deposit.
I don't think I'll give you my checking account.
I'll hold my breath.
All right.
I heard a great phrase on marriage. It said, marriage isn't a word, it's a sentence.
Oh.
There's a lot in there. You got to unpack it.
All right. Wow. On that note, let's move on here. Everybody, anything happening for anyone? Happy happenings. Anyone want to share things that have gone on with them or for them or around them?
Well, Brian, this is Alan.
Yes.
And a week ago today, my wife had her hip replaced. Ironically, by the same surgeon that did our other member's knee. And she is, working through her pain, but she's feeling better each day and has a lot of support from physical therapists and others who have come to the house. So it's really very great to see the progress.
Great. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that for Barbara. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. How about other happy happenings?
Today is International Friendship Day, if anybody cares to know that. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
Well, thank you. That did not come up when I looked in important things for today, and that tops the list for me. So thank you.
Probably a hallmark.
Oh yeah, that's right. You may be right.
Hallmark holiday.
Yeah.
Would you
Hopefully own stock.
Can I suggest that you kindly send notice to Congress?
About Friendship Day?
Yes.
Oh,
Remind them.
they probably wouldn't read it.
They probably can't read it.
Yes.
I like
Good.
that one.
Good one. All right. Anything else going on?
This is Kimberly. I have
Yes.
happiness for the Giants, I suppose. So we lost and I made a bet. So I will be sending $40 to the foundation because the Giants had a good game. So,
All right.
so
All right,
happy for them.
Great. Great.
I wouldn't go that
Sounds
far.
good.
Of course you
Anyone
would.
else? Nope. Okay. Well, I know for me, I'm happy to be back home after a few weeks gone. So it's kind of nice to get caught up on some things around here. So, all right, why don't we move into some committee reports at this point? Richard, anything
Okay, on World Community Services,
Yes, please.
we just wrapped up our SAFE donation down to Ayahik Shapala Club. We've got, we're now supporting individually 27 students, and that's being done by 14 families altogether. So that's
nice.
about 100% increase over what we had last year. And then we'll also be supporting them with another, I think it's 10 or 11 students through the club. That's kind of on our annual contribution down there. And just let everyone else know, while finishing up from this conversation, the meeting today, we're going to have a very short kickoff meeting of the WCF. So, so if you want to stick around, anyone else who wants to be in on the call, we're happy to have you. There's just going to be a continuation after this, no more than about 15 minutes. That's it.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. And I want to say thank you to you and to Linda, and I know there are a number of others involved in getting that taken care of. And then also for all of you who've contributed to that. It's a very nice project. And so thank you to everyone involved. All right. How about Kimberly? Can you give us an update on community, please?
We have our approval for the grant on the community or the senior center. So once everything clears up and we're able to get out there and get going on it, we will. Everything else is kind of stale on that, except Relay for Life on a personal is going to be going on next weekend in Lincoln. We're going to be walking socially distanced, so whoever wants to walk, and we're doing it a virtual, so we'll be passing a virtual baton on Facebook. So if anyone wants to join us out there in support of Relay for Life, just send me an email and let me know. We would love to see everybody out there.
Kimberly, can you send out the link so we can donate?
Absolutely, and we are doing a luminary event that night too, so you can either donate or you can purchase luminaries. Karen, I sent you an email asking names for your luminary bags.
I received that, and I'm going to come over this afternoon. Are you at the funeral home, and I can give you a check for those?
Absolutely.
All right, I'll be
Yes, ma'am.
How late are you there?
4 o'clock.
Okay, I'll be there before then.
Okay. I'll send out an email with all the information and the link for Relay. And like I said, if you're going to go for a walk and get healthy, you may as well do it for cause.
You might want to know, you might want to let people know what a luminary is.
Oh, a luminary is a white bag that at the end of the night, it gets lit up with a candle. So a lot of people do them either in memory or support. So we do it in memory of our family we've lost, or if you have someone who's fighting cancer right now, put one on there that says keep trucking and keep fighting. And we'll decorate them and we make them really pretty. And I will send out pictures of everyone's luminary to them as well, both lit up and not lit.
Somebody needs to mute themselves.
Yeah, thank you. If you're not talking, why don't we go ahead and mute just in case there's any background noise. I can't quite make out who it is specifically, but it is kind of tough. So thank you for that, Chris. Well,
I can mute
all right.
everybody and then unmute whoever needs to talk. And you can unmute yourselves if you want to talk. So let me do that. Brian, I'll have to unmute you in just a second.
Okay. And then Chris.
Yes. I'm just going to let you know that we are preparing for school. School for Western Placer opens up on August 20th, and it will be distance learning. And I was meeting with our deputy superintendent today, and this is a real struggling time for parents, for teachers, for students. And so we are reaching out to people to look at being a tutor during, especially this first possibly quarter semester, depending upon how long we are stuck in the position we're in of distance learning. So if you're interested in tutoring, and that could be reading a book to someone, helping kids with their math, with their English, it could be elementary. We're looking for high school tutors, of course, to tutor the high school kids and middle school kids. I'm more elementary with my math and English. So if you're wanting to do that, or even just to connect with a young child that may not have the support at home, just to talk to them. I know Alan has been really good about always connecting with kids when we do the reading. He gets to know them on a personal level, and just giving the kids an outlet to be able to talk to someone else other than their parents.
Okay, Chris, is this virtual, or how is this done?
We're going to be looking at a couple of different things. There might be parents that want their child to meet with you one-on-one, but it's mostly going to be virtual. Everybody's going to have to go through fingerprinting, which—
That's where I was going. It's going to have to have live scan, right?
Well, we're going to do fingerprinting.
That is, yeah.
So, but the problem is the police department isn't doing live scan right now, but I'm going to reach out to Chief Lee and see if we can get something set up for that, just so that we can.
The local UPS just used to do it, right by Safeway.
Yeah, I'm just not sure their hours. I went there yesterday and they weren't open, so.
Yeah, they just changed ownership.
We'll try and figure something out, and hopefully we can keep the cost to a minimum. I don't know.
Chris, would you mind putting that in writing?
Yes.
I guess so, 'cause that sounds very interesting and sounds like something maybe I'd like to do also.
Yeah, and we're working on all the logistics right now. I'm going to be meeting with the schools, the Sun City Helping Our Outstanding Schools group on Monday to kind of get everything, all our ducks in a row. But I think it's very exciting and a way for us to help.
Might that be something that we as a club would want to fund?
There's really not much to, well, you mean like the live scan?
Yes.
I don't know. First I want to talk to the chief and see what his thoughts are on.
Yeah, I had it done at Rockbridge Police last time I went. It cost about $20.
Oh.
Yeah.
And and in fact, I was just on a youth protection meeting this morning. And there is a website I can probably send you that shows all the lists of where those facilities are.
Perfect.
The majority of that fee, though, just so you know, if it comes to asking for the city to waive it, the majority of that fee actually goes to the Department of Justice, and it's
Can I ask a question? If you've been live scanned, how long does it last?
If you've been live scanned, but it wasn't for the school district, you have to be live scanned again.
It's
per agency.
Per agency, right?
Christine,
All
I didn't
right.
hear that last part because somebody was talking.
No, I was just saying it's per agency. So when you go to volunteer for a new agency, they have a fiduciary duty to re-live scan you.
Right.
But even if you had it, if you were live scanned for a particular agency, how long does it last?
That's really up to the agency, how long. It could be 1 year, or they may say if you've had a break, you have to have it again, or it could be 3 years. It's up to that agency.
Okay.
If you robbed a bank yesterday, you know, we don't know.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, thank you, Chris, for that update. Appreciate that. Karen, fundraising, please. Unmute. There we go.
Muted myself. We're in the final stages of deciding which group we're going to go with to run our virtual gala Friday, February 26th. And then I'll be sending out an email. We're going to have items from them to bid on and silently and in a live auction, but we also will need things from our members of silent and live auction items. And so if you can start thinking about what you might be able to rustle up either by purchasing something or having something around your house that other people might want, like an antique or a picture or something that do that. Or if you have a condo on a beach, whatever, you know, nice thing like that. We'll be asking for those donations to it. If you don't want to do it and you want to just give us some cash, then the committee will put something together to have out there for the silent auction, or put some together and have a live auction item. But this may be our only thing this year, depending on how the coronavirus goes. So we really need to make it highly successful.
I have something to add. We've purchased another 10 bicycle racks for the Tour de Lincoln, and Kimberly's been kind enough to keep them at the funeral home. We got a break on the freight because they were being delivered to a commercial address rather than a residential one. But I'm sure Kimberly would like us to get them out of there soon. I think they've only been there a couple of weeks. So if I wondered if anybody with a strong back could help me. I was going to say this afternoon.
All right.
Sometime this afternoon, you know, let me know and we'll get together and get those out. To get individually only weigh about 5 pounds, but well, maybe 10. But you know, they're all bundled together at this point, and so they weigh 10 times 10. So.
Okay. Where will you be taking those, Jerry? To storage? The storage unit? Okay. All right.
If you guys can't get together today, there's no hurry either. They're not in the way here at all.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Kimberly.
You guys are totally fine with them here until you're ready.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm able to help you later tomorrow morning if you've got if you still have a need there, Jerry. Just let me know.
That's bicycle time, Brian.
Well, what time do you get back from your bike ride?
Noon.
All right. Well, then you let me know if tomorrow, then maybe early afternoon, if I can meet you over there. I can still do that.
I might be able to get Mike to help you too, but not today.
Okay.
All right. Great. Thank you. And thanks, Kimberly, for storing those. I know that I stepped over them yesterday and almost tripped and broke a leg. So anyway, okay. Anyone else have anything relative to committees that they like to talk about or bring up? Okay. Beyond that, any questions, ideas, suggestions anyone has for anything that we're doing or should be doing?
Will we be getting a DART update sometime?
Yes. So we're working on 2 updates from John and his boards, one specific to the foundation and one specific to the DART properties. And it looks like it'll be sometime in the month of August. So he'll give a full update on that and those organizations as well, as far as the boards and the funds that each of them have. Does that work for you?
Sure.
The 2 dates are August 20th and August 27th for John to give the updates on those.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, Chris. All right. Yeah, and I wanted to do those separately so that as were involved in these, they're really two separate entities. So I wanted to talk about them separately so that we can really, for one, grasp that they're two separate entities, but also understand the structure and the workings within each.
Right.
So thank you.
And we'll have that for you end of the month.
Perfect. Thank you, John. Okay. Anything else that anyone would like to bring up before we move on to our speaker?
Yes, this is Chris.
Okay.
Just if anyone has any ideas for speakers, to please forward them to me. I pretty much have August and going into September taken care of. So, and next week, and actually, is Andrea still on? Are you here?
Yes,
Andrea?
she is.
I'd like her to make a little presentation about our presenter next week, Lloyd Levine, who is going to speak on digital divide. Andrea?
Right now?
Just a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Like
So,
why they should come and listen to him.
Oh, well, yes, I think you would really enjoy this actually. So Lloyd is a former assembly member, and he has spent his time out of the assembly advocating for access to the internet for California residents, both school children and adults. And I think this is really relevant to our Rotary Club because we support Western Placer Unified School District students in ensuring that they have access to the internet so that they can be productive in their distance and digital learning. And he's going to share some really relevant research and data that explains why this is so important. And he's also a fellow at the UC Riverside Public Policy, what's it actually called? It's a public policy entity. I'm sorry, I'm talking off the top of my head, so I'm not as prepared as I would like to be, Chris. And so he's done a lot of work across the state in bridging the digital divide, but also exploring it and understanding it in a way that we can be most productive in closing that digital divide. And full disclosure, he and I are old friends from college. And so we've known each other longer than I'll admit here. And I think that he'd be a powerful speaker, and I appreciate the opportunity to bring him to share his expertise. So thank you.
Perfect, great. Thank you very much, Andrea and Chris, for that. And I'm looking forward to next week's speaker. So thank you for that. And then also I want to thank Chris for stepping up to help me out here with getting some speakers lined up. So Chris, I think, you know, I don't know of anyone that has as much energy as Chris, and I'm thoroughly impressed by her.
Don't be.
We all are. Yes. Round of applause.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you.
Moving right along.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So next we have what I think is going to be a really great talk from a gentleman who I look forward to meeting someday. And I had an opportunity to talk a little bit with Chris yesterday when we met over at the funeral home. And it made me even more excited about today's speaker. So Chris, I'll let you introduce Clifton for us.
All right, it is my pleasure to introduce Clifton, and I'm assuming he is on.
Yep,
he is.
Okay, super. It's a very big honor for me to introduce Clifton. I see him as a very good friend, and he's fun to be around. So Clifton Taylor leads Taylor Builders, a land development and investment company based in Roseville, California. Clifton has 2 decades of real estate and management experience in Northern California. Since co-founding Taylor Builders, he has guided the growth of the company by making dynamic project acquisitions and developing an industry-leading operating team. Mr. Taylor, that's funny to call him Mr. Taylor, has worked successfully with landowners, federal, state, and local agencies on complex development projects throughout Northern California. With experience across multiple real estate sectors, he brings a passion for community development through active stakeholder engagement. I will attest to that for sure. An outspoken leader, yep. Clifton is known for being an unconventional strategist willing to take personal risks. He formerly led Richland Communities Real Estate Division located in Roseville, where he is responsible for the company's Northern California assets in the Sacramento region, Bay Area, and San Joaquin Valley. Mr. Taylor holds a bachelor degree in environmental studies from the University of California at Santa Barbara. He is active in the community, currently serving on the board of directors for the Tahoe Mountain Resort Foundation. Previously, he served in the Sutter Roseville Medical Foundation Board and is also the founding member of the Urban Land Institute Young Leaders Group in Sacramento. Additionally, he is the co-founder and chief financial officer of the Lincoln Potters Baseball Club, a collegiate woodbat baseball organization located in Lincoln, California. And everyone, please bring Clifton Taylor on.
Thank you all for having me. Chris, can you hear me fine?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to speak with all of you today. My wife is actually Rotarian in the Roseville group, and you know, is very passionate about the public service and volunteerism that you guys bring to the community. And it really aligns with you know, what kind of my bio tries to sum up, which is, you know, we really look at ourselves as community-based investors. We're very focused on operating businesses and or investments that are directly related to the communities that we live and then do additional business in. So my wife and I both relocated. She was from the Bay Area. I was from a small town of Corning in Northern California. And after college, we both ended up in the Sacramento region and met at one of my competitors' holiday parties, and then had the opportunity to work together in helping bring the Young Leaders Group for the Urban Land Institute to Sacramento and really establish our careers in real estate here in the region. And then I had the good fortune to go to work for Richland Communities, where I worked as a asset, you know, kind of younger asset manager for one of the larger land developers in the state of California, and specifically in Placer County, who was responsible for developing a lot of the Highway 65 corridor in Roseville, including the Galleria Mall and other major developments here. And so kind of cut my teeth with that organization, was able to take over leading that group in 2010 and ran it until 2017 when I started Taylor Builders, which was shortly after we had started the Lincoln Potters Baseball Club. And I think I was going to focus a bit on the Potters and then, you know, describe a little bit about what we've also done in Lincoln on the development side. And I don't know if you guys have any questions or how you do it, but does that sound fine, Chris, for scope? So, you know, as the community was looking to engage in the redevelopment of McBean Stadium, there was outreach going on regarding who would participate as a local investor group in the Potters, and my name came up as someone who would potentially be willing to take that risk, and ultimately through the decision process of bringing a Great West League team to Lincoln, we were selected to be a minority owner in that group. And really the intention of the council and the direction they gave to staff was to assure that there were local individuals involved so that the values of the community would be met, and you know, there would be guidance for a group of outside investors that were coming. And so, you know, lo and behold, at the end of the first year, the investors that had agreed to bring the Potters to town had a conflict with another team that they had and a desire to move into a different league that had non-compete clause. And so Isabel and I, took very much to heart our engagement in the team and what we had signed up for. And so we strategically bought out the other individuals and took 100% ownership of the team starting in year 2. And thanks to the hard work of multiple people on here, but specifically Chris, we've had a great, a really tremendous opportunity to get deeply engaged in partnering with a lot of local businesses and other organizations that we all value in our region. So it hasn't come without its challenges. I think, we've, like many businesses, faced startup costs and other issues. We, deal with weather impacts, and, we've had fires, we've had also, the bad fire season. There've been all sorts of things. And this kind of was setting up to be our breakout year, and the first year that we would, effectively start clawing back some of our startup costs. And then obviously COVID happened. And for an organization like ours, that, very much could have been devastating. And so I think, fortunately, because we, Isabel and I, have a holding company that we use to own our development company and her consulting company and the Potters, we have the resources available to us to deal with certain things, like accessing the PPP loan program. Other government programs are available to us. And so we were really able to figure out a path forward sustainably for the Potters, where, I understand why so many small businesses can struggle, because it really required banking relationships. It required detailed paperwork and other things. And a lot of pursuing a lot of those matters without a lot of certainty around whether you would actually be able to be successful or not. And so for us this year, we obviously professional sports are being played without fans, and for major market teams where they make their money from radio and broadcast and internet relationships, they can survive under that scenario, where for us it basically means a complete loss of all all in-season revenue, which tickets and food and beverage comprise about 60% of our revenue. And so made for challenging, it was going to make for a challenging set of circumstances whether we decided to play without fans or not. And I think where we landed on playing with fans for the 22 games that we got in is that, wood bat baseball is really about two things. And some organizations do one well or the other well. And so those two things are, really, one is providing an entertainment venue for people similar to minor league baseball. And then the second is player development for young players to be able to advance their careers, to get scholarships, to get more playing time, or for a few to be drafted and have the opportunity to get paid to play the sport they love. And so I think what we were faced with was our commitment to our overall platform. There's a lot of teams, there's a lot of organizations that they just get grants and host camps, and you show up at their facility and there's 50 people watching in City Park, and it's about the player development. And then you go to places on the East Coast and they've got 6,000 people in the stands, and it much more resembles a great entertainment venue. But even with what they provide, they still are not competing with some of the historic teams as far as player development, like the Cape League would. And so our real focus was showing our commitment to player development this year and playing as many games as we could under the circumstances, so that we could extend those relationships with colleges and their coaches and other organizations, so that we would put our community in the best place possible to have the best team going forward. And that definitely ties into the bottom line. And so I think, we had 21 Division I kids this year. We probably have a decent chance of two two kids that played for us this year being drafted in the first round of a future Major League Baseball draft, and Daniel Susak and Eddie Park. Daniel's going to the University of Arizona in the fall, and Eddie Park is going to be the starting center field for Stanford. So we're talking about, incredible level of athlete playing in downtown Lincoln. And so, the city has shown us a tremendous amount of support through this, much more support than the county has provided. The county, has been challenging to engage, but fortunately the city has really understood the nature of our operation and provided what we needed to accomplish what we set out to. And it was unfortunate we had to terminate our season because of one of our players testing positive for COVID. There's speculation around how they came into contact, but based on all the testing that we've done since. But it really isn't that we had to suspend play because one person tested positive. It really just highlights the challenges of a small business trying to comply with blanket laws that apply to professional sports, and just the testing protocols and the administration that we would need to do were going to be very difficult to achieve with a limited number of games that we would be able to actually field towards the back end of the year. And so we had to make the unfortunate decision to conclude our season last week, which was difficult because of how much we had invested in time and energy into it. But I think, our position is our kids got 22 games that 99% of their peers didn't this year, and that hopefully some of them will be able to use that to advance their career and meet that player development expectation that goes along with our club. And I think, Rotary has a big reach. It's amazing how many people we need in the community to support an organization like ours, and gross, I could not, Isabel and I would not be able to sustain a livelihood if the Potters were our only business. It's really a passion that we have, and one of our commitments is that, to the extent we want the company to be sustaining, and it's structured around a for-profit organization, but our commitment really is that as the organization grows, that any proceeds that are received from the company will be reinvested into the community. And that kind of aligns with us wanting to do something with our time that has that kind of ripple effect through the community. But we don't do it alone. We have folks like Chris who tremendous support on community engagement. We've got our staff, so we obviously had paid staff, and then we have interns that come in. We have 20 kids normally that we would hire in the summer, that some of them it's their first job. We have 21 host families, which is incredible that we have 21 families that are welcoming these kids into their homes for upwards of 60 or 75 days. We have host family coordinator. We have a volunteer clubhouse manager. We got paid coaching staff. We've got volunteer coaching staff. It amazes me how many resources go into our organization and how many of these people are doing it on a volunteer basis. And I think that's part of why Isabel and I have tried to make the Potters part of our brand and take the longer vision of what a successful organization in our space looks like, because we really it would be heartbreaking for a lot of us for what we're doing not to be sustaining because of how much we've invested in it. And I think now you go around town and you see people at barbecues with your Potters hats on, and your giveaways and things being posted, and people talking about taking their family out for a birthday at one of our games, and we have all sorts of groups that come out and do hosting, and so we will continue to focus on the Potters as part of our overall brand, and our passion around as I mentioned, being community-based investors, where we're focusing on doing things that are very much part of the Main Street culture in Placer County. So obviously that doesn't get fun. It's not it's not something that we could do without doing other things. So my wife has a boutique economics consulting firm where she does analysis for real estate and predominantly real estate projects as it relates to municipal government and other kind of market-based research programs. And then I had the good fortune to leave and start Taylor Builders, which was a company that my named that I kind of rebranded from a partnership that my grandfather and my father and my uncle had in the 60s, 70s, and 80s that ultimately was disbanded. And so I brought back our namesake company and formed Taylor Builders. And our goal really is we do traditional land development where we buy large chunks of land and finalize state, federal, and local permitting to be able to build on the property. And we will contract with large contractors like Tykert and Marquez Pipeline and Lund Construction, the major general contractors in our region, and we'll put in roads, sewer, water, storm drain pipe, and parks and concrete and asphalt, and do all the improvements necessary to sell those lots to builders who ultimately do the vertical construction. And so we've been very fortunate that with the support of our partners, a private equity firm out in New York, that we've been probably the fastest growing development company in the Sacramento region, where this year we expect to build about 1,000 lots, which means that we'll provide about 15% of the lots that get built, 15% of the homes that get built in our region will be on lots that we built and sold to the public home builders. And so for not yet quite being in business for 3 years, that's something I take, quite a bit of pride in, that we've been able to see that level of growth. And, we're adding to our team. I think now we're up to, I don't know, maybe 12 people across the development company and Isabel's business and the baseball team collectively. And so, it's very exciting for us. We also had the opportunity to buy all of the residential development land at the North Star Ski Resort. And so we opened an office and brought on 4 team members from a prior team in that was part of the redevelopment of the North Star Ski Resort. And we have an office at the North Star Village and are doing luxury development up on the mountain that's ski and ski out real estate just below the Ritz-Carlton there at North Star. And so, as Chris highlights, I've definitely a risk taker and someone that sees opportunities and is willing to kind of have those all-in moments to push through and create opportunities for ourselves and the folks around us. And so I think it's been very exciting to have the success we've had in the development business. Specifically locally, there was a project that was built that's being sold by D.R. Horton right now at Ferrari Ranch Road and Highway 65 next to the Lincoln Crossing Clubhouse. That was a project I bought in September of 2018 and built and sold to D.R. Horton. And then we're actively building the Meadowlands subdivision, which is where all the development activity is going on between Gladding McBean and Carlin Coppin School. And so if you drive by there, it looks kind of like a war zone with 9th Street torn up. I was out there today, but I assured you we're making good progress and it's going to look good, here as we get into fall. And I think there'll be some nice improvements to some of the drainage and other things that have not necessarily aged as well as would hope. There's just, Lincoln has some, that part of town has some aged infrastructure that will be upgraded, and I think will benefit a lot of people. And then we've also have active development on the west side of Roseville, where we're developing a 1,000-unit project called Fitiment Ranch, and another project called Mason Trails that's in the county off PFE and Willargo. So, we're probably building more than anybody in Placer County at this point. So, I obviously very engaged in that business, but it amazes me how much our investment in the Potters is such a focus of a lot of the people we do business. Everybody that we do business with, from large general contractors to consultants that we have, 9 times out of 10, the first thing that people are asking me before we get to business is, what's going on with the Potters and how are we doing? I heard so-and-so's kid was going to play for you, or I knew that kid, I coached that kid in Little League. And so it's just been tremendous to be involved with. And I think, the only other exciting thing that we have going on that's very Lincoln focused is that Isabel and I purchased from Primo Santini the vacant piece of property catty corner to City Hall on F Street there, and are hopefully going to be bringing forward to the city proposal for a mixed use building that would include both a commercial and residential component, and hopefully be the long-term home of the Potters as well. So I don't know how you guys do this, if I'm on mark or not, but if you want to ask me any questions, or there was something specific I was supposed to cover, I'd be happy to.
I got a question, Clifton. It's Joanne.
Sure. Hey, Joanne.
Hi. Hey, I just wondered, can you tell us, I know you can't tell the name, but how's the player doing that tested positive?
He's doing fine. As it turned out, a few of the players did test positive. They were all asymptomatic. They're out of half a dozen, only one was had symptoms, and he seems to be doing fine. Our trainer, what's interesting was our trainer, who does literally, is helping stretch and massage and deal with injuries in close proximity to all team members, tested negative, even though she's obviously been in direct contact with those individuals. And then our general manager tested negative as well, and was obviously around them. I hate to say it, but the common theme really was kind of carousing behavior. The kids who were known to be the ones that were out later at night and doing more social engagement were the ones that tested positive. And I think when you see what's going on in Major League Sports right now, they're tying the Marlins people testing positive back to their day off and ending up in a nightclub in Atlanta. And so I think one of the challenges that folks face when you deal with athletes is there's a bit of an invincibility complex that comes along with who you're dealing with. And I think if I had one regret this year, that we probably would have done a little bit more mentorship and a little bit more coaching around that. But I guess we got a little bit complacent because we were getting into our season, and we really weren't. We were following our protocols, and we didn't have any issues up to that point.
Yeah, well, it's tough when you're young guys do that. Yeah, we had fun at the weed whacking outing with 10 of them. They were interesting young men. Fun. I wish we'd been able to see them play. It was a great team. Were they 17-5, or was it 18-4?
I think we ended up at 18-4.
Great.
Nice. Very nice. Hey, Clifton, I got a question regarding this, Brian. You had mentioned host families for the players.
Yep.
And is there a way to find out more about that for future players?
if you have a whiff of an interest, we have someone that will doggedly pursue you helping us out. So I can. We have a wonderful volunteer, Michelle Eskridge, who helps us coordinate all of our host families. And so if you or someone else interested, I'll put you in contact with her.
Yeah, that would be great. I've got
I will gladly.
I've got a personal interest, and that is, so my significant other played softball growing up and played into college level as well. And so when she and I play catch, she tears up my hand, and I would like someone that could play catch with her in my place. And I'm sure those guys could do it.
Yeah, I mean, I will tell you that the host fam, you know, the kids we've had have truly been great, and the host families have had tremendous amount of experience. I mean, I think that's where some of the most heartfelt stuff has been seen. Obviously, we have to have some rules around young men and who can host them based upon age of female family members and other things of that nature. And so we had a circumstance where I think from our second to third year where a family that had been a host had gone through a divorce and then were unable to host because of the rules we had in place. And literally the player that had returned from the prior year, because it was a returning player, would play catch with the son from the prior year's host family every single game after the game for 30 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, we've just had so many positive interactions with like that. And I think I was really proud to see the guys get out and help with the vacant yard and weed eating. And they take pride in that. You know, you know, I think we need to find more opportunities to engage them. I think, you know, the heartbreaking thing this year is just 4th of July is such a event in Lincoln. And typically, you know, we would meet there in the morning, we would walk to the parade, you know, get in the queue, you know, the kids are handing out gifts and candy and people are going crazy, you know, wanting high fives. And then, you know, the guys end up in Susan Cope's front yard, finishing off her champagne and bagels, you know, somehow, you're only the ones over 21. And then, you know, to have the game really be in the park that's the centerpiece of the activities and participate in the fireworks show, I think that always is something that the kids are just, it has the wow factor. They're like, man, I can't believe you guys do this for us, you know, like, or this is how Lincoln, the Lincoln community gets itself together. And so I think that was definitely the day that it was really hit home about how far from normal things are.
Yeah, sure. Okay, well, great. Well, thank you.
I have a question. Clifton, Pearl here. How do you see the development outlook, say, over the next 5 years for the Lincoln area?
You know, the resiliency of the residential land development has been confounding. You know, you wouldn't believe that we would be with such a shock to the economy that there would be so many people buying houses, but there's just really there's just a groundswell of movement from people from urban areas into suburban areas for a lot of reasons. And so we're seeing it in Tahoe, we're seeing it in Sacramento. The last 6 weeks in Sacramento have been the highest selling 6-week stretch since 2007. The Placer County is getting you know, a really big share of that growth. And I think a lot of, you know, so we expect that trend to continue. I think, you know, there's going to be challenges for the home buyer and the residential market in general, and that I think they're, you know, going to be municipal budget challenges, capital improvement challenges, communities dealing with pension issues and other things that we dealt with in the earlier part of the last decade. And that overlaid with, the buyers needing access to FHA and other government loan programs more than maybe they have been over the last few years. And so being tied to those limits. And then I think just a challenge around self-employed people who traditionally use their income tax returns for qualifying for mortgages because, some of the impacts of that are not going to show up for a period of time. And I think lenders are going to have uncertainty around that. So I think, our expectation is there's going to be some choppiness, but then that we're also just going to have this kind of, significant outflow of people from the Bay Area and other areas that are looking for places like Placer County that are nice to live and have the amenities that we do here. So demographic trends tend to not be things that peter out over a few months. They tend to be sustaining over a number of years and build on themselves for a bit. And I think we're just getting started in that regard. And we're really seeing it in all parts of the country that my financial partner operates in, where that's a consistent theme. So I think as it relates to Lincoln specifically, I think you're going to see an acceleration of people's interest in developing in Lincoln because there's just been so much of the urban footprint inside of Roseville and Rockland and other communities that there's really only two places to go: West Roseville and Lincoln. And Placer County has traditionally done about 30 of the new home growth in the Sacramento region. Placer County has traditionally been about 30% of that at a minimum. And so, that means that the Highway 65 corridor and then West Roseville are going to continue to get a lot of attention. I think what you're seeing is there's a lot more volume of activity in Lincoln now than there was, 5 years ago. I would say I think it's a lot more sustainable right now than it was in the last, real estate run up because of the fact that a lot of the infill areas and other areas like the Whitney Ranches and, even like, 12 Bridges and other areas that, still had, significant amount of development that could occur there. And so, I think Lincoln's going to get, there's going to be a lot of focus on Lincoln from a growth standpoint.
Clifford, how much risk does Lincoln pose for developers, though, given that if we don't improve Highway 65 and add a couple of lanes, to it, could that have a dampening effect, or is it just going to be kind of more traffic? Kind of like, I moved to Roseville 30 years ago. I couldn't believe there was no traffic out here, and now there's a lot of traffic in Roseville. I guess maybe we'll just face that. What do you think?
A lot of the people that are coming there are facing much more significant traffic or access to services in areas that they're living than what they experience under than what we have. So some of it's a bit of perspective. I grew up in Corning, so sitting at stoplight makes me, I just get agitated, if I have to stop. But some people that grew up, my financial partner, he rode the subway to school, and would, deal with urban interface every day. And so I think it comes down a little bit to perspective. I think I love doing business in Lincoln. I think the challenge with Lincoln is just that, because of some of the way the city's finance structure has worked over the year, from things that were done long ago have worked out, it's made it tough for them to have the same level of staffing and resources that other communities have, but yet they still have to comply with all the same sewer and water and traffic and general plan update and housing updates and regional housing needs assessments and all of the things that go along with it. And so it's, it's stressful and it's hard. And, I imagine if you're a staff member there, you feel like you never get ahead, and you get something off your desk and it comes at the cost of letting things pile up on your desk. And that, that can be demoralizing. It, that sucks. And so, but I believe, Lincoln's best days are ahead. I think Lincoln understands some of the issues that have affected it financially, and have made great strides in their administration of using the tools that will help remedy that. And so I think new growth will provide some relief by there being top line growth in revenues, but not on towns like Lincoln don't tend to have a lot. They may have a lot more houses show up, but they may not necessarily have a lot more calls of service for violence and things that the police are needed for. And so as long as we create a sustainable structure around that, there's some value that obviously that brings to the community, and I think bring shopping and jobs. And I think in a community like Lincoln is exceptionally well suited to take advantage of the remote work scenario, because you look at their general plan, they've got all the projects have 40% open space, so you got a lot of areas that have a lot of outdoor areas, relief from just being on top of one another. And you got you've got a downtown that still has the best bones of really any competing community for quite a few miles. And so I think for those reasons we truly do think Lincoln's best days are ahead. And we're obviously investing our own money there to prove it. I wouldn't have bought, we wouldn't be talking about building a building in the downtown if we didn't believe in that future.
Clifton,
Good.
this
Yeah,
is
thank
Jan.
you.
This is Jan.
Yep.
Clifton, as a fairly new member of Lincoln, I've learned so much from you today about the development projects going on. You are an unbelievably knowledgeable and productive businessman, really inspirational. Thank you for all you do for our community and beyond, and for your support and investment in Lincoln's beloved Potters team.
Thank you. That was very nice.
Great.
Well
Thank
said,
you.
Jan.
Yeah, well said, Jan. Absolutely. Okay, any other quick questions for Clifton? So I know we got to wrap up, running a little bit long. No? Well, Clifton, I'd like to say on behalf of all of us, thank you very much for taking the time to be here today. And I look forward to maybe getting a chance to meet you sometime in the future, and probably seeing you around Lincoln.
Yeah, that sounds great. And thank you guys for all that you do. Communities, growing up in a small town, you see, what makes communities tick, and it's what you guys are engaged in right here. So thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome to come and join us.
It's tough, when you do business in eight towns and have the investments you do, we get, we have to, our time gets spread a little thin, but
Sure.
I do appreciate that. Maybe as we continue to get through our startup phase, you guys should talk to Matt, our general manager, about getting engaged. But right now you'll have to just live off our number one volunteer, Chris Wyatt's time.
Right.
We couldn't live without her.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Well, thank you, Clifton. Thank
Thanks,
you
Clifton.
all for being here today. And have a good week. And we'll see you next week at noon.
What do you got, Chris?
WCS is meeting right after this.
Just received
Yeah.
this mail.
Oh,
It
Yeah,
tells you about-
Nice.
Just a reminder that, Richard's committee's I'm gonna leave the Zoom meeting open so Richard's committee can be on it. And Richard, I'm just gonna make you the host, and then you'll be able to just end it when you're ready.
Okay, then why don't you unmute everyone if you would before you sign off?
I think they have to unmute themselves.
Okay.
I'll see if I can do that.
Yep.
Yeah, they should be able to.
Bottom left.
Allow participants. Yeah, everybody can unmute themselves.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great
Thank
week.
you, Clark.
You bet. Now, let's see here.
So they're dropping like flies in front of me here. This is good. We'll have the real players. Unless anyone who's not officially on the WCS wants to join